As part of the Insight Maker overview series, it's appropriate to spend a moment and talk about the Insight Maker website itself, which most people sort of skim right by once they create an account. They never bother to look at the website that they actually went in through. So this is what one sees without being logged into Insight Maker. And there are a lot of things that one has access to or can do without actually being logged in. So that this link is the same as the link down here, provides access to a feature list, the various features of Insight Maker, which actually doesn't do Insight Maker justice, because I mean it's just a list, and if you look at the videos that are part of this Insight Maker overview, you will find out that Insight Maker is an extremely robust environment for developing relationship models and simulations in a web-based environment. This is also access to the online help information that's embedded in Insight Maker. If we go back and look, there's an option here called Simulate, which talks about two different types of simulation models, essentially system dynamics models and agent-based models. And if you look down a little further, you'll find out that there's actually a model embedded in this web page. Now, this isn't just a picture of a simulation model. This is an actual Insight Maker model embedded in this web page that is executable. And when you develop models, you can embed them in web pages or blogs or wiki pages or wherever you find it appropriate to surface them to other people. Also, there is, to collaborate, you can send, I mean, the easiest way to share your model with someone else is to simply send them the URL for the model. The person who receives it does not have to have an Insight Maker account. What you have sent them is a URL that will access the model that you've created in Insight Maker, as long as you've saved it as public as opposed to private. If you save them as private, people need an account to access it, and you can give explicit access for people to view private models. But what you have is a set of access controls so that you can control whether or not people can see private models, or you can simply embed the models you create in a web page, as I've showed previously. Now, the other option here is Explore Insights. When people create insights, they have an option to add tags to it if they desire. This is a list of the popular tags, and they're sized appropriate to the usage, so that if you clicked on economics, you would see all of the models that are tagged as economics, and you can see that there are an awful lot of them in here. There are probably 50,000 models in Insight Maker at the moment, with varying degrees of utility. Some are garbage and some are really good. So you can search, or you can use the tag cloud. Additionally, there's an option here to look at new insights, new public insights. As people create things, this is a view of what's been created, most recent first, trending toward the older, so that this particular model was created or modified an hour and 24 minutes ago, and it goes on from there, so that some of this stuff was created 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. So if you're interested in finding out what people are working on, what's being newly created, you can come here, and anyone can come here whether they have an Insight Maker account or not. Now, accounts are free, so I mean they're easy enough to get, but some people really are not interested in developing models, but they would like to look at some. Also, every other month, Scott publishes a newsletter which is sent to all of the individuals who have Insight Maker accounts, usually talking about new features that have been added in the last couple of months or so, or things like that. Insight Maker is a completely web-based environment, which the extent of the implications of that are sort of easily escapes one. I remember Scott telling me that the Insight Maker was completely coded in JavaScript and ran in my browser. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, you don't need to access it on the server to actually use it. He said, just download the source and load it into your browser and it'll work. And since I didn't believe him, I did it. I actually downloaded the source, which is available on GitHub. It's an open source application created with a number of other packages and code added by Scott. Ran Insight Maker in my browser, created a model, saved it to my desktop, loaded it back in and ran it, and it works just fine. The only time Insight Maker needs to actually connect with the server is when you create a new model. It saves it. Whenever you make changes, it saves the changes. It saves access information about the model itself, and the model itself is saved out there in its current form. So it doesn't matter how many people are using Insight Maker, and there are currently, I think, about somewhere in the excess of 50,000 registered users. It doesn't matter how many people are using Insight Maker. It doesn't have an impact on the performance. The performance is only dependent upon what's going on your own desktop, because that's where Insight Maker runs, is in your browser. Now, also on this page, there is about a 15-minute overview of Insight Maker version 5, which completely it's a version 5 overview of version 4 of Insight Maker, which really doesn't do Insight Maker justice, though it's long enough to give one a sense of most of what's there and short enough so that someone's actually willing to sit through the whole thing. This is a link to the Insight Maker documentation, which is the online help information, which you've seen that you can get to from other places also. And then this Insight Maker map and videos was a set of sample model example information created probably 2 years ago, and all of this content is currently being migrated to systems KeLE, and it's probably going to take another 6 months to get it migrated. Some things move faster than others. A couple years ago, Scott Fortman-Rowe and Gene Bellinger wrote an interactive book called Beyond Connecting the Dots, Modeling for Meaningful Results, which demonstrated how to create models to better understand situations and how to deal with them using Insight Maker models. It's an interactive book, if you could call it a book, with a copy of Insight Maker actually embedded in the book so that one actually interacts with models, Insight Maker models, inside of the book. And there's a version of it that runs on a Mac, Windows, or a web-based version of it. And last but not least, if you have questions or comments about Insight Maker, you click this tab here that says Feedback. We use Get Satisfaction as a place for people to post questions, comments, problems, and there are several of us who receive the posts, and they're usually responded to within a couple hours or so. This is a direct version to the Insight Maker Get Satisfaction area, if you'd rather not work in the little pop-up window that I showed you a moment ago. So that's pretty much what's on the website, and is accessible without having a username and password to actually log in. Though I said creating accounts are free, if you click here or here, it will take you to this screen to go ahead and create a user account, and I'll talk about creating a new account in the next video. So take care. Bye.